be learning from home next week following the increased COVID-19 restrictions. Schools will be closed to most students. That's until Monday, July 19th. But children of essential workers will be allowed to attend campus if necessary. The order applies to Greater Sydney, the Blue Mountains, Central Coast, Wollongong and Shell Harbour. Let's get more on this. Education lecturer at the University of Newcastle, David Roy, joins us now to share some tips on staying focused while studying remotely. Thank you for your time, Mr. Roy. Now, before we tackle the how-tos of homeschooling, let's start with this big one, what ifs? How to manage them as educators and parents in the minds of our young people. What if this lockdown is to get extended? What if we lack motivation? What if we're lonely, friendless, fatigued? Fear and uncertainty is being felt by our students now more profoundly than ever. I know this as a mother to two young school-aged children. How can we support them at home with the what ifs?
I think we have to just remember that we are families or carers in those households, and it's always down to Maslow's theories that we look after their well-being first before we force them into the learning. So make sure that they feel safe, they feel secure, that they know this is probably the safest place to be until we start to vaccinate teachers and start to vaccinate children. And then they also have to remember that the learning is still going on. Their teachers are still there remotely, supporting them, as well as working with some of the kids that have to go into schools, so that their learning will progress. They don't need to worry. And I guess for the largest group, it's going to be the HSC kids. Well, they're at that stage where they've had 12 years of learning. They have this, they have the knowledge. They just need to basically revise it now and realise that they would not be given the courses and be put forward by their teachers if their teachers think they couldn't cope with it. So they should believe in themselves because their teachers are believing in them. And we just need to get on with this because it's better to be safe.
As you mentioned there, looking after our well-being for parents with young students and for children and for those who are about to undergo the HSC exams. The trial exams are delayed by 2 weeks for more than 500 students. How can we make sure that we're looking after our nutrition and getting our exercise in? What tips do you have there?
Well, that's key. Healthy food. And we've seen this from multiple research studies, including the ones here at the University of Newcastle, that the food that we take in and the water actually helps our brains develop. It helps us to learn, helps us to keep calm. We may be at home, but eating lots of sugar, drinking lots of Coke or whatever is not going to really help those matters. So we need to maintain routines with families. We need to retain, if we can, structures for the learning so that the kids feel that they have a process to go through, that this is learning. If they can have an area to study in, have that. If they can have breaks as well, take those to get outside where it's possible, or even inside if it's raining, get some exercise, do something different. Don't move from a device of Zooming straight into a device on games, but do something different. Make a meal together. And from that, have learning experiences, because cooking is to do with science and STEM and technology. We can look at the ingredients. Every experience in the house can become a fun learning experience. Watching the Euro final with Italy against England, when we shout out Forza Italia, Forza Azzurra, we can think about the colours and the history of why it's the royal blue in Italy why they wear that as their uniform. So everything around us can become part of that experience and help us feel secure and to stay healthy and a healthy body and a healthy mind as well.
I just want to touch on technology. Devices more and more have taken up space and time in the homes of many of us. They've become part of our learning. How can we use tech to maximise that learning, but not so much that our children are bleary-eyed and irritable at the end of the day?
Yeah, listen, technology is amazing. It gives us as families, let alone the teachers, lots of resources out there to extend learning or to support learners who are struggling with some of the work that maybe they've been given by their school through YouTube and through Eddie Wu's YouTube channel and other resources that teachers put up. We also sometimes need to take a step away from the computers. For some people, there will be a technology deficit. They won't have all the technology they maybe need, and as families we need to check what do we need to have for our kids to be supported in remote learning. But when it comes down to it, just picking up books and reading them, If your kids are doing nothing else but reading, then they're going to be learning. And as adults, we should be modelling that to the children as well. We don't stay on the technology all the time, but we actually come off it and we read books and we do crafts and other activities as well, because they're all, again, part of that learning experience.
Switch off, get manual, have that time together, all very sound advice, and good luck to our Year 12 students. Of course, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. David Roy, Education Lecturer there from the University of Newcastle. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.